Hey guys, Eco Breaker here. I just wanted to do a quick little mini review on the Mbx7t Eco I had. I don't know if you guys saw my other video for the first running. You can go check that out. It was the first time after I just put it together. I just took it to my local indoor track and just made a few laps with it just to see if it ran okay. Nothing came loose or anything. They were actually doing some track maintenance, so I didn't get to run the full track, just part of it. But anyways, here it is. Don't know if you guys are following on RC Tech in the Mbx7t Eco thread in the electric section, but posted some pictures. Took it to an outdoor track on Sunday, this past Sunday. And ran it. Was running some practice laps before racing. I went off a triple. It was a pretty good sized triple. You're probably about 20 feet in the air. Well, probably like 30 feet in the air, probably 30 feet long is how far you jump. Pretty typical for some of the outdoor tracks that we have here. When I landed kind of on the rear of the vehicle, and I broke a rear arm. I'm going to show you that now. I was actually able to fit an Mbx6 arm on the truggy. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, there's a little bit of bracing that the Mbx6 arm has, kind of like this one. This is the Mbx6 arm. It's got that little bracing towards the end. I just cut that bracing off, put the hub on. What's definitely different is this pin right here. The Mbx7 pin is actually thicker around than the Mbx6, but this is the Mbx7 hub. I just used it. It does have some play to it. Since the hole is bigger for that pin, but it got me racing again. You can see it's on there. Everything else bolted right up like it was supposed to. Nothing was different other than that pin. I'm not sure if it changes the geometry at all versus the Mbx7 arm, but it got me racing again. So the only thing I had to do was that pin, and actually the Mbx6 shock bottom eyelet, the ball is shorter than the Mbx7. So I took a ball out of an Mbx6 shock and put it in the eyelet here, and it fit just fine. This opening for the shock to go in is not as wide as the 7. Okay, this right here. So you have to use an Mbx6 ball in the end of the shock as well. Ran the first qualifier, and off the same triple, I kind of undershot it and cased it a bit, and I broke a front arm and a shock eyelet. Right there, shock eyelet. Not the shock shaft, just the eyelet broke. The shaft's still fine. And as you can see, the arm broke right at the hinge pin. Now, I've had an Mbx6 Eco, and I had an Mbx6 Truggy that was converted using a Techno chassis. I never once had an arm breakage issue. There was one time with my Truggy at an outdoor track. Was a very similar sized triple as this last Sunday. When you jump off the triple, you're right next to the straightaway, so you're jumping. If you miss, you jump into oncoming traffic. So one time a guy was running his Mbx7 buggy, and he was behind me. I jumped the triple, landed, did a 180, started coming down the straightaway at full speed, and he jumped the triple, landed in the straightaway right in front of me, head-on collision. I broke a lower arm and bent a shock shaft. That was the only time out of all the times I ran my Mbx7t Eco, buggy, or truggy that I ever had an arm breakage issue. Never once have I done it, you know, just casing a jump or cartwheel or anything. This was kind of caught me off guard and kind of got me a little worried about the Mbx7 arms, if they're for some reason weaker or not, or maybe the crash was a lot worse than what I thought it was. But anyways, enough of that. Well, actually, here's the arm. Here's the 7 arm that broke at the hinge pin. I guess I'll show you that. Broke at the hinge pin. I've got an new Mbx7 arm here, and I have that same Mbx6 arm. That's the left side. You can see it's right on top of one another. All the bracing looks exactly the same. The shock shaft hole obviously is a little bit bigger with the 7, but all the holes line up just like they're supposed to, right where they're supposed to. So virtually it's the same arm. So if you have an Mbx6 and you got a bunch of parts and you got the 7, you can probably use the arms and keep them just to get you out of a bind. But you'll need the Mbx6 pin for out here and the ball for the shock. As far as handling, I felt that the truck was a little soft with the stock setup between the oils and the springs. The only oils I could find in a CST rating was a Kyosho oil, so I used that. I put 700 in the front and 650 in the rear, and I also went to the stiffest silver spring in the front, which is a 7.5, I believe, 7.50. Stock is 7.75. That helped a lot. The rear, I think, is also still too soft. I think it needs a little stiffer spring. It comes with an 8.25. I'm going to get an 8.0 and a 7.75, I believe, is the stiffest you can go on the rear with the silver spring. So I'm going to try that and see how I like it. Other than that, the truck runs great. It handles awesome. It's got ridiculous corner speed. I mean, there was times I was coming around a sweeper at full speed and was praying that it didn't go flying off the track, and it didn't. It held speed. It went around the corner. Never had an issue. Jumps really well. Handles very well. The kit itself went together very good, actually. I've had several kits in my time of RCing. Before I went to Mugen, I had Techno, and they by far had the best kits that went together. I mean, their manuals were really good. The kit went together very well. All the parts were, all the parts and pieces were in the bags together. If you had, the diff, all the diff parts were with that bag. If you had, the front clip, all the front clip parts were in that bag. So that was really nice. The Mugen, pretty much the same. It went together very smooth, no issues, no problems whatsoever. The only issue I ran into were actually the balls on the end of the shocks, because one side is a little longer than the other side, the flange, when it fits inside the arm right here. The manual tells you to put the thicker side of that ball on the inside and the thinner ball on the outside. Same with the front. The thicker on the front. Actually, if you can see if I can get close. See if my camera will zoom in. Now, you can kind of see how the inside of it's a little bit longer than the outside. So that was one thing I saw that kind of threw me off. I wasn't paying attention, and I just happened to read the instructions, and it was fine. Yeah, the kit went together very well, very quick. I did it over a 2-day span. I probably spent 5 to 6 hours combined putting the kit together. But that was me installing the diffs and checking diff clearance, mesh, and doing some shimming stuff. Trying to figure out where I need to be for shimming and things like that. So that kind of took some time. Bleeding the shocks kind of took some time. Letting all the air bubbles get out, that took some time. The first thing that the manual actually tells you to do is put the diffs together. So I did that and let those sit and let those bleed, and everything while I put everything else together. Went great. Really happy with this kit. I really am. Compared to the Mbx7t, I think this handles much better than the Mbx7t. As far as the turning, it turns ridiculous. When having the Technos, they are known for their steering, and the Mbx7 has tons of steering. Even when I went to the stiffer shock oil and the stiffer spring in the front, I didn't notice a significant difference in steering. I didn't notice a loss in steering at all. It still had plenty of steering, plenty of corner speed. It's just a really, really good kit. Definitely recommend it to anybody that's looking. Here you can see the chassis wear on the bottom. That track wasn't very abrasive. As you can see, it really wasn't that abrasive compared to another outdoor track that I race at. Compared to the other track I race at, here is my Mbx7 Eco buggy, and that's after 1 day at the outdoor track. It's pretty abrasive track. Yeah, that's after 1 day. So this other track I went to, not as bad. Everything's wearing pretty good. Really like the truck. Yeah, definitely if you're looking to get one, definitely not a bad investment. I would say get some shock shafts, get a set of arms, and probably some rear hubs, and probably some front hubs, and the pillow balls is what I would probably recommend to get as far as spare parts. Other than that, probably some springs and things if you like to do some suspension tuning and stuff. I actually like doing suspension tuning, so I always have a bunch of springs and a bunch of different weights of oil. I know a couple of people recommended using the non-tapered 5-hole piston and also the 8-hole piston that I believe M2C makes. I'm not sure if Mugen makes them. I think Mugen does make an 8-hole piston, but I'm not 100%, but I know M2C does. So yeah, the only other thing I'm probably going to get is probably an aluminum top plate, just to stiffen the front up a little bit. That helps with some of the steering and stuff, so that doesn't flex when you're steering hard into a corner or anything. I think I might get one of those, and I had looked into possibly seeing if somebody made an aluminum rear brace, because my local indoor track is typically pretty good grip, and I've noticed having a stiff chassis really helps on that track for my drive style at least. So yeah, that's my Mbx7. If you guys have any questions or anything, certainly post in the comments section, or hit me up in RC Tech in the electric thread under Mbx7t Eco. I will certainly answer all the questions that I can. I don't claim to know everything, but not too many people are posting any videos or giving their feedback on this kit. Not sure if people just got them and haven't built them yet, haven't run them yet, or what, but trying to give you guys some feedback and let you know about it. It's a brand new kit. The Techno ET48's been out for a while, so this is a pretty good contender. There was My buddy actually is sponsored by Techno, and he has both the ET48 and the Nitro truggy, and he even drove it and thought that it drove pretty good. He didn't like it better than the Techno, but he thought it drove pretty good. It had some similar characteristics, especially in the steering. So yeah, good kit, really good kit. Very happy with it. Plan on doing a lot more racing this summer, a lot more outdoor tracks, a lot more indoor tracks. We got a lot of big races coming through here at Hobbytown, Hobbyplex in Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, that's it, guys. If you got any questions for me, post it up, like the video, share it, whatever you want. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.